Welcome to Love in the Time of Hydra, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. 10th anniversary podcast. Guess what, guys? On this day, 10 years ago, some stuff was going down. Move over, Pharrell, because the number one song in the U.S. was All of Me by John Legend. That's right, knocked out after 10 weeks in a row. One of my favorite comedies of all time was number one at the box office, Neighbors. Love that movie deeply. The day before today, 10 years ago, 200 gay couples got married in Arkansas after the state ban was overturned. Woohoo! I hope all 200 of you are still going strong. And the day before, Casey Kasem went missing. But it's okay, because he was found 10 years ago tomorrow. So he was only missing for like 2 days. I can't believe I don't remember that. But some of my best boys celebrated birthdays today. 10 years ago, Robert Pattinson turned 28 and Harvey Keitel turned 75. Those are my boys right there. But the most important thing that happened on May 13th, 2014 was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1 finale. Beginning of the End aired on ABC at 8/7 Central. You know who we are, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm Jamie Jarek, and I'm here with my boyfriend, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Level 1 fan, co-host Tony Poletto.
Hi, guys. Hi, Jamie. Thank you all for joining. If you're watching and listening, I can't believe we did 22 of these sons of guns. It does not feel that way.
Time is wild. And I'm really excited to introduce our guest today. One of our favorite guests from the entire season. He's back. My longtime pal, mega Marvel fan, Steve Hund is in the house.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here, Steve. I have to tell the audience that you were kind of a last minute addition because since it's Mother's Day, I asked my mom to be on the podcast because she loves Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and she respectfully declined.
That is so funny because you didn't say that in your text. You didn't say who it was, but having the context that it's your mother now, that is hilarious.
Will you be our mom?
I'll be your mom. Yeah, right. I'll be your mom. Wait, really quick. Neighbors?
Yeah.
Is your top? Yeah. It's like your all-time?
It's like in my top 5. I love Neighbors.
Comedies. Neighbors. I mean, it's funny. It's very funny. Yeah.
When I was living with Becca, we watched it like once a week. I think I've seen Neighbors like 50 times.
Natalie, my wife, we watched that recently because she loves that movie as well. So another reason why you guys are friends, you know.
Exactly. It also has a banner sequel. If anyone hasn't seen that,
is that also in the top 5? The two, Neighbors.
I would put it in the top 10 of comedies. I love those movies. They really.
There's a lot of comedies out there, Jamie. There's hundreds of comedies.
She's seen them. It's a thing. She's seen them.
I know. No, I know she's seen them. Yeah.
I can't help what makes me laugh. They're not up there with like David Wayne movies or Barb and Star, but they sure do the trick. But that's not why we're here. Maybe we can start a comedy Patreon with Steve. But for now, we're here to talk Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hello to the chat. Thank you all for being here. Some of you have been live chatting with us since day 1, and gosh, I really appreciate that. You're awesome. I know Alice is one of those people, and oh my goodness, we appreciate you so much. Interacting with all of you on social media, DMing these past however many months it's been since September has just been a real joy. I love interacting with this fandom, and I love that I've invented an excuse to do it for the next 7 years. But
this is fun. This is fun for me, by the way, because this is my first live show with you guys. Because the first show I did was not live, so it's great to see everybody in the comment section. Yeah, it's fun. So it's kind of
oh my god, that makes me happy. Wow, that's why we had Steve back, not because we love him. He just got gypped of the live experience last time. But before we get into the rules, I want to share some news. First of all, we are not going away for the summer. We would never do that to you. We've got our Firefly Patreon starting on June 9th. We'll be live 5 p.m. PT, like our normal time. It's Tony's first time watching Firefly, which, like Buffy, is another cousin of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I think I said Buffy, so we should take a drink.
Oh, cheers. Yeah.
Okay.
You can tell it's summer because every Sunday we're like, what's the excuse this week? And this week we're celebrating our final show of the season. Let's have a drink. But also, this summer on our main channel, not Patreon, we are doing spotlight episodes. And our first one is with costume designer Anne Foley. I just interviewed her for the Spiderwick Chronicles, and she was so cool. So we obviously had to be like, okay, we just talked, but you want to talk again on our podcast? So the interview will go up on Monday, May 20th. It's not going to be live. It's going to be audio only, but I think she's going to have a lot of amazing things to say. So I'm really excited about that. That's all the business out of the way. Tony, tell the rules. What's going on?
All right. Yeah, listen, don't spoil anything. If you're going to talk about anything that takes place after this episode, which would be season 2 and beyond, don't talk about it unless you write spoiler alert above your comment. And that's to protect people like me who are in the comments who are watching the show for the very first time. Be nice to those guys. And that's it. Normally I say producer Maria will stab you, but producer Maria is yet again not here today. Jamie will not stab you. Jamie will cry if you spoil things in the comments, and that will make everybody so sad and feel guilty. You'll wish you were stabbed. Those are the rules.
Got it. This is the hardest rule to me with Tony in the room. I said this last time, but I'm going to say it again. I'm going to try so hard, Tony. I'm going to try so hard.
You're going to be fine.
Yeah. You did fine last time, man.
I did fine last time, so let's go 2 for 2 without spoiling anything for Tony.
Yes. Yeah, if listeners, if you for some reason have not listened to Steve's episode, it's episode 15, Yes Men, such a good one. We're not going to get into Steve's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. history because we did that. So if you don't remember, go listen again. Give us those listens.
Check that one out. Go listen to that.
That's over there. But Steve, so you were last on for that episode, which was 2 episodes before the Hydra and Ward reveal.
Yeah.
So that was the big thing I feel like you had to hold in last time. So you're free there. That's open now. We're in the thick of it now. Have you been watching more in between for funsies, or do you just jump into this one?
So I have a story. Yes, the answer is yes. And I think I already told you this, Jamie, but I'm going to say it again. So when we had the last episode, I sent it to family and friends for them to watch, and my mother watched it because my mother loves me. Happy Mother's Day, and also she has seen Jamie perform and has met Jamie a few times. So she watched it, and then she texted me. She's like, I've never seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, when I come visit next, will you show me a few episodes? And so we did. We started season 3. I won't say anything, Tony. I won't say anything. I started around season 3 just because I was like, I don't know where to start with you. And then... It was the one that came to mind. I had been thinking about it for a little bit, and then she kept wanting to watch it, and so then we went back to the beginning and watched it. So 2 things. Yes, I have been watching them recently with my mother, and my mom is now a new fan of your podcast. So it's working, you two. It's working.
Cool.
The podcast is working.
So happy.
One mom at a time.
One mom at a time.
Yeah.
I want to shout out Susie in the comments and wish Susie a happy Mother's Day, because no kids tonight. Mama gets time to herself and gets to watch Tony's reaction. So happy Mother's Day. Thanks for choosing to be with us over your kids. That makes me feel so
always
proud.
The correct choice, Susie.
We're your kids now, Susie.
Yes. All right, so this is the beginning of the end. Of course, no surprise. It was written by Jedmo. The episode was directed by David Straighten. This is his second episode and also his last episode. He previously helmed 084. And every week I usually just say the main cast, but since this is the finale, I'm going to shout them all out. We've got Clark Gregg as Phil Coulson, Chloe Bennett as Skye, Ming-Na Wen as Melinda May, Brett Dalton as Grant Ward, Ian DeCasticker as Leo Fitz, and Elizabeth Henstridge as Gemma Simmons, our 6 main babes. We love you. And we have so many guest stars back. J. August Richards as Deathlock, Bill Paxton as John Garrett, BJ Britt as Trip, Ruth Nega as Raina, David Conrad as Ian Quinn, and of course, Samuel Jackson back as Nick Fury. I hate that they not only put him in the opening credits, but he's like in the promo. Like,
he is in the promo,
yeah.
They really needed to get eyes on this show. I mean, it's just so obvious.
I get it.
And everybody was wondering at that time, like everybody wanted to know. And because they put it in the promo, it just was such like you didn't need to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it was easy bait to get people to specifically watch this finale because everybody was wondering at the time. But it was a bummer. I mean, it made me watch it, when it came out. But it was a bummer.
It worked. It was smart. It's smart.
It worked.
But
it
like
worked.
I even told Tony, I was like, don't, because sometimes I'll tell him don't read the names, and because I don't want him to know until it happens. But like the show is on the bubble every season. Like I get pushing as much as they can.
So wait, Tony, did you see it? You were you spoiled by that right away?
Yeah, so I didn't watch the promo. Jamie instructed me. She was like, I'm not sure if there's a spoiler in the credits, but don't read them. I said, great. So it's kind of a hard thing to do, but I've gotten pretty good at it. And so, yeah, but like, I did have a feeling, like, I was like, it'd be really cool if they got Fury again, because they got him in the first one. I'd be like, it'd be cool if they got Fury back for this. And now they did what I wanted them to do. They brought him back. It was great.
It was the... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, so they left us with one surprise, which was Patton Oswalt. They didn't tease him in the credits, which I love that he's back. We'll talk more about that later. But Steve, sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, it's the perfect place to bring Fury back. In all honesty, like it should be, and it was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode. So I did like that. I appreciated that.
Yeah, even within the context of the greater MCU, this was his first appearance since Winter Soldier, and that's like a huge deal. That's such a big get.
Yeah.
I had a question. This isn't a spoiler for Tony, but I was wondering this when I was rewatching it. Is that Skrull Fury?
Oh God!
If we, you know what I mean? Okay, probably not.
I don't think
We'd have to look back. Because he's probably in space, right? Yeah.
Well, because he shows up in Next and Ultron, and even though I always theorized that maybe that was a Skrull, no, because I think he's really only a Skrull at this point in No Way Home sorry, Far From Home, because Secret Invasion answered 0 questions about that, frustratingly. Yeah. But no, definitely, this is definitely the real Fury.
Fury.
God, yes, the Fury. But the episode synopsis: the epic conclusion of season 1 sees Coulson's team attempting to take down John Garrett once and for all with the help of an old friend. You know who he is. We're talking about him. So initial episode thoughts, Steve. How do you feel about the season finale?
Oh, it was great. I thought it was a great season finale, especially for like. Well, was season 2 already announced? Did they already know that they had season 2?
I don't.
Do we know?
Think so. I'm sure somebody in the comments can tell me exactly the date when season 2 was renewed, but at this point, I don't think so. But somebody tell me.
Yeah. But I loved it. It tied up a lot of the loose ends with season 1, and had it not been renewed, I feel like it would have been a great ending, anyways. Like, thank God it got extended, but. It had everything. It wrapped up some loose ends. People got their comeuppance. The ones, most of them did. Most of the ones that you wanted to get a spanking got it. And then it just, it's set up in the end credits. Some seeds to come, Tony.
Yes, indeed. Yes, there are seeds. There are seeds in there. There's a bloody man hand.
So I would give this one an A in my opinion, but Tony, I know you're ranking them. Like where does this fall on your ranking?
It's
What's
high.
Your current ranking? Catch me up. Okay. Good.
Oh no. We'll publish. I'm not going to go through the whole list, but we'll publish. Okay. I'm gonna refine this a little bit because I kind of want to make sure I feel confident about it, and then we'll put it on our Twitter and Instagram and all that business. So this ranks number 7. I really loved it.
Okay.
It's underneath Yes Men and above Only Light in the Darkness. I'm with you. I think it's a great finale just because of how gratifying it is. Like it really satisfied everything that I'd been thinking and feeling. Not everything, but like the appropriate amount of things that I'd been that I'd had, that it's been setting up. I just as Fitz and Simmons and Fury and Garrett, like and Ward, the piece of shit. Like, yeah, I just like I was really happy. Like I was really happy with the episode.
Shout out to Alice in the comments who confirmed that the season was renewed on May 8th. May 8th, the only day there you can say it with one syllable, which means when this episode dropped, we did know there'd be a season 2, but when they filmed it, obviously they did not.
Yeah. Right.
And I was going to bring this up in our history section, but since Steve, you kind of touched on it, I'm just going to say it now. Jed Whedon had said that they wanted to give this season kind of a happy ending in a way. And Mo said that the series was, they kind of wanted to go a little bit back to square one in a way and boil down to the basics. But like, even though they did give teases, they really wanted to feel their victory in the episode. And I think that they really succeeded. I think this is a great finale. I mean, you got Samuel Jackson in there, like, come on. This episode makes me cry so much. And when I say cry, I don't mean like full tears. I mean like I well up. And in my notes, I wrote down crying every time I welled up. And I think that should be a drinking rule for today is anytime I in my notes, I said I cried, you got to drink because it's like 12 times. I can't like not get emotional. I only did a full tear stream at one point.
I'm sure we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Jamie, where is this ranked on your insane list that I'm sure you have somewhere?
I don't have my official list yet. Especially I have like my top 10 like favorite episodes of the whole series. But this one it's probably like within the top 6 maybe. But I have to really think about it before I officially. But yeah, well, Steve, we'll get, if you want to join us, you can send me your top ranking and I'll share it to the gram when we share ours. Yeah, I'll probably a lot of our guests have seen all of season 1, but not all of our guests. So we'll see who wants to contribute to that list. But let's dive into this episode. It opens with Cybertech. We've got a new employee, which did you guys clock who this guy was? Did you recognize him?
He's so familiar. Please tell me.
No, I don't know. The new guy?
Yeah, he plays Norm on WandaVision. So he's and he'll be back in season 2 of WandaVision. So there are a couple like minor Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. guys like that pop up once that show up again in the Marvel shows or in the Mandalorian because it's all the same casting director.
Yeah.
That's cool. It was the glasses. I couldn't recognize him without the glass. You know what I mean? Yeah. He had glasses on.
Different guy. He's not in 1950s clothes. How could we tell who he is? New employee, the incentives program, which we learn later in the episode, is basically just they kidnap somebody you love.
What an insane,
awesome reveal.
What about the vacation days? Like that's the incentive.
Yeah. I thought that was so funny when he said, because like he says, what brings you here? Like, why are you here, man? He's like, the incentive program, and the guy's like, oh no, I get it. Yeah, nobody turns that down. That's it. Cool, good to have you. I was like,
we find out that like his wife is also kidnapped. Like he's pretty peppy for his wife is kidnapped.
I'm realizing now that the incentive program is kind of a pyramid scheme.
100% with your family. It's like it's just signing everybody out to work.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Amazing.
It's like, do we get paid time off? Like, what else is in this package of incentive programs? No,
I don't know. Do you love your fucking daughter?
Yeah. You can have it without your fucking daughter.
Yeah.
I like that they like have these like little room. It's like a little hotel, like a kidnap hotel, where they
it's nice.
It's like dorm rooms.
Yeah, comfy bed.
It could be worse.
It could be worse.
Sure. You're right, Jamie. We should quit complaining about Cybertech.
Meanwhile, Coulson, Sky, May, and Trip, they're trying to get in. They're fighting those Cybertech soldiers that we left off in the last season. And there's a good fight here. We get the really good line from May, don't ever call me that, when someone calls her the cavalry. It's been a while since we've had a cavalry drop, so I like that they brought that back in the finale. May got that staff back. It was all pretty badass.
Yeah. I was glad to see your hands back on that.
Does Tony know the name of the staff yet?
I think they said it in a previous episode, didn't they?
Okay.
You can say it.
What's the name of it?
Okay. It's the Berserker staff. It's like like as Guardian. Yeah. It was just cool to see her be like, Yeah, I can wield an Asgardian weapon. Fuck you. I'm Meg.
It's the second time she's done it. She did it in
oh, that's
the
right.
previous
That's
episode.
right.
Yeah. Or I forget which one it was, which episode it was, but yeah, there's a lot of Asgardian. They find it in a tree and it channels your rage. And she has previously thrashed people's asses with it. And so it was like, oh, she got it back. And Coulson says, bring the house down. And so she's just like,
I like that.
Support beams. Like,
there are a lot of like quick one-liners, but my favorite, I laughed again because I had forgotten about the line when he's like, who do we talk to about getting a haircut? And you're like, all right, Coulson, get him. Get him, Coulson.
Zing!
Zing!
Dad joke.
Yeah.
And then the bad guys are still on the bus. I hate seeing them on the bus. It makes me mad. Like, get out of my bus! That's not your bus.
With that.
Garrett is fucking losing his mind. He rips the door. He's like flexing these new muscles, and Ward is literally like, looks like you're losing it.
Yeah.
It's so funny to watch Ward be like, Dad, are you okay?
Yeah,
I'm so mad at him.
I know, me too. And I agree with Tony about he's a piece of shit, and I hope you never lose that spirit, Tony.
I'm gonna let the show do what the show is gonna do.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time imagining, how he's gonna get over this hump.
But to Jamie's point, I did love that like crack in his ego. You know what I mean? Like he was starting to get. It's fun to see Ward sweat and be like, I'm conflicted. And you're like, you're damn right, Ward. You're a piece of shit. Like, of course you're conflicted. You're a bad guy.
It irritates me. This is why this episode made me dislike him even more, Steve. The issue I have is he says, okay, yes, he's finally starting to crack. Why is it that he's starting to crack? Because the guy he's been following and doing serving, he's literally his entire existence is serving this man. He starts to crack. And that makes sense. That's a real thing. That's a strong character choice. But it's like there's a lot of other things that should have maybe made you crack a little bit that didn't.
Why is
that's the thing? And all Ward wants is orders, and it's so pathetic. We're gonna talk about Sky throwing his bitch ass out later. But like he says, Garrett's like, you want orders? Go find Sky, and he goes, thank you.
Right.
He told what to do.
Yeah. Somebody tell me what to do. Yeah.
Yes.
Jamie, how do you feel about Ward again? Like where we are in season 1.
Oh yeah, no, I can't stand him, but I also love to hate him. Like I enjoy hating him. Yeah. I also like the thing about him is like he's pathetic. Like, and the thing that like makes me hate him the most is that like he's such a baby. He's just like, nothing is ever his fault. And that
right.
Like, own up to it. Maybe make an apology once in your life.
Yeah.
Like that's what gets me. But like I love to hate him, and Brett's so good. I really hope we can get Brett on the podcast at some point, just so we can like praise him in terms of just like, man, we love to hate you. You're so good at that.
Yeah.
I hope you have him on. I hope you have him on the podcast, and Tony doesn't talk to him the entire time. Like that's what I ask for.
Just sitting here smoking a cigarette, looking at the lens.
Yeah. Who the fuck do you think you are?
Oh God. I also like when Ward says to Garrett, he's like, I mean, we're not really true believers, right? Like,
right. Yeah.
Like it's because Sky called him a Nazi and he can't stop thinking about it. He's like, So like I really enjoy that.
But I agree. I think that's a good way to put it, Jamie. He's just somebody you love to hate. Like he's a good villain in that way. Sometimes you just want to hate a fucking villain. You know what I mean? And he does that. He checks that box off.
I love hating a little bitch. For example, Connor on Angel. What a little bitch.
Is that a drink?
Yeah, that's a drink. So then we got
a show-wide rule.
Yeah, poor sweet baby Fitz-Simmons. They're trapped at the bottom of the ocean. The team thinks they're dead because they're not answering. They risked everything to put a tracker on the plane. There's that sweet Fitz, like, you look peaceful sleeping. And he does this whole scientific thing about why they sank. He broke his arm. He's doing the math. And he's like, there's no way out. We're going to die. And that's when the first time I wrote my notes, I'm crying. I'm like, I just like I the tears are welling in my face, just this whole, because the last, like, when they dropped in the last episode, Tony's like, well, they're gonna be fine, and it's like, yeah, Tony, but like, how are they gonna get out of this? They're at the bottom of the
I
ocean.
told you.
And they're scared.
I told you. I said they're gonna science their way out of that. They're gonna. I was just waiting for it to. I did feel it. I felt we're gonna die down here, and I feel it because they're feeling it. But I know that they're just waiting for the eureka moment, and she has it with the glass, and I just said, and I'm just loving being with these guys like always. But it was genuinely emotional and effective.
Out of all the things that happen in the season finale, and usually when you get a Fitz-Simmons like B story, it'll always be my favorite part of the episode. Like the philosophy, we'll get to it, but Simmons has a really good. Well, I guess we can get to it now because it was pretty close. But when she's like, she likes to think about the first law of thermodynamics, like that no energy in the universe is created and none is destroyed. And I just love that. I love the Fitz-Simmons conversations, the philosophy and science that comes together is just, it's always like so satisfying to me to watch those two not only like love each other, but just have like fascinating conversations. And it's like, yeah, hell yeah, give me more of that.
I also
atomic reincarnation. Like, I love that theory. That's such a great theory.
It's cool to hear like really smart scientists talk about death. I really enjoy that, and like the most optimistic version that they can think of. But I really think that's cool. Also, we got to mention that we got another Fitz monkey reference. I don't know if this is 5 or 6. I'm sure somebody in the chat can tell me.
We'll check in with Maria.
Yeah. And then and that scene where when she goes, it's fitting that we're down here together, Fitz, and that got me crying again. But then he realized, like, they figure out a thing, and then they get excited, and now we have a whole new set of problems. Where do we start? And that's a cute little.
They love that. I love. Yeah. I love that they love that they have problems that it's like a new puzzle, like a new toy to play with in their heads.
Yeah.
And I love when they get excited about that stuff. Crazy solution. I know. What the hell?
I love it. It came out. It fell out of their mouths so quickly, but I understood it. I don't know how much they're bending reality and science, but I mean, it was a blast when they finally cracked the puzzle. Yeah.
You definitely any Marvel science, you definitely have to just be like blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to like any science in Marvel, you have to be like they figured it out. I don't know.
I do hope that we can one day get some writers on the show, so that because I'd love to ask specifically, like, how do you come up with the science? Like, what kind of research goes into that? Do you have a consultant? I'd love to ask about that. But so backtracking a little bit, Coulson's kind of giving the team that's left like a bit of a speech. He quotes Fury. He does a bunch of, he's like, ace in the hole, Bob's your uncle, like all these classic things. And I love when he's like, are we ready to change the world? And May's like, no, I'm ready to kick some ass. And if you I shared the promo today. If you watch the promo that I shared on Instagram, the ABC cut it off as before she could finish the word ass, which is really wholesome for TV 10 years ago. Like, they didn't want ass in their commercials.
Yeah. What a good May. I love those one-liners. I love when Coulson does the dad jokes. May does the like, I'm a fucking badass kind of one-liner jokes. And you're like, hell yeah. Come on, characters. Say your catchphrases. Say your funny one-liners.
And then again, I just wrote Garrett is cuckoo. He's really going cuckoo. We've got the gravitonium is back. Love to see the gravitonium. He can see through it, he says. And then there's this cool scene with Raina. She's talking about how she's got no allegiance. She's interested in evolution. And she asks, I love when I write down a quote before it's said in my notes, because I knew she was going to ask, what will I become? Because it's like, so it's the way Ruth Negga says that line is just like, what does it mean? What is she talking about? Tony, what is she talking about?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I like that she's what I thought. Like I knew that she wasn't, that when the clairvoyant was revealed to not have any sort of supernatural clairvoyant abilities, that it was just a guy with a clearance level like that. I could, she's disappointed by that because she's hunting for something special and singular. So I don't really know what they're talking about in terms of evolution. We're not going to hear it from Garrett's mouth anymore. I can tell you that. But I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by what she's after.
Oh, you'll know. You'll know.
Good.
Or will you?
Or will he? I don't know. I can't tell you, Tony. It's a rule. I can't tell you. Yeah.
Both things.
Will Ruth Negga return? I don't know. So then we got Ian is pitching the stuff to the military, and that goes south real quick. So
Oh my
Coulson's
God.
team attacks. I think Tony kind of looked down. I think he missed this moment where, like, they blew up a bunch of guys. Like, Coulson just straight up blew up a bunch of people.
I was writing in my notes. I was writing about how much I fucking love the noisemaker that goes, "Hey ho, friends, the enemy is near." Like, that shit is fucking awesome.
I wrote in my
That's the
notes.
noise?
I didn't know why you laughed. I was like, why did Tony laugh? So I'm glad that you remember.
I love the noisemaker so much. It's good.
That's very funny.
I wrote again, Paxton is going nuts. Just like every time he's on screen, I'm just once again writing down.
And he's so good at it.
Yeah.
He was really good at it. He was eating that roll up and those lines.
That's like near dark.
He was having a lot of fun. Yeah. And when he did you get to the part where he punches the dude?
Well, I wrote in my notes, "Oop, X-Men guy not coming back," because that guy plays Colonel Hendry in First Class, which we discussed last week. And like, yep, he's dead.
That guy's dead.
He pulls out one rib. It was just like so like, oh god, dude. And then Ward's like, I'm even more nervous now. It's like, yeah, dude. That's a war crime. Like that's a government official that you just punch through and pull out a tiny piece of rib, and it's like, oh my god.
The future, so I guess it's cool.
Owl in the comments just dropped a fun fact that I did not know, which is the noisemaker was voiced by Jed Whedon. Thank you, Owl, for that fun fact. That was not in the wiki, I don't think, when I read the wiki today. So we love fun facts. This is why we have a live stream.
Or ma'am.
This is why. Owl could be either.
I also liked when Garrett when they were like, "This is the beginning," and Ward's like, "The beginning of what, John?" And then he's like, "The end." And you're like, "They said the episode title. Yay, they said it."
I have that exactly in my notes. Like, Tony and I have a house. So we have show rules, but we also have a house rule, which is if they say the title of the thing and the thing, then you drink. So we were not drinking. We watched this episode, but it is like a drink moment.
We drink sometimes.
Yeah, we don't drink all the time. Alcohol's fun for our 21 and up listeners.
Cheers.
Or 18 and up in the UK. But so I do like when Ward is like, beginning of what? Like he's like, what? Like he's just
what you be saying?
Are you talking about? Yeah.
Ooh, then I really like when Raina says to Ward, "I agree with him. You're the one who follows him." I really like that distinction is really good, and it really sums up both of their characters so well.
And exactly what Tony was saying. He's all about he's a leaf in the wind if he's not following orders. You know, he doesn't know what to do with himself.
Right.
I love that.
Tony, Susie in the comments has a question for you. When Ward asked the beginning of what, did you think that might be a moment like that Ward was gonna do something to Garrett? Like if he was did you expect him to have a turn at any point in this episode?
No. I mean, I could see what Steve was been talking about. Like, yeah, he's starting to crack, but no, I knew he wasn't going. I knew they weren't going to have him have a "what have I done" moment in one episode. Like that, he's got a long path to walk, as far as I'm concerned, in order to get to get over that hill. So no, I wasn't expecting that.
Good question, though. That's a good question.
Yeah, I agree. Yanni in the chat just quoted Firefly, or technically Serenity. So we're I love the chat's getting ready for the Patreon. We're getting there.
It's on.
So Sky comes to Cybertech with a quote unquote bomb. She calls John. Here's my question. It's weird. Everyone in this episode just is calling him John now. Every other time he's been Garrett, but now that he's like unhinged, it's like okay, John, come on. It's like when like you're trying to get someone off a ledge and you say their name over and over again.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's why that's happening.
Like everybody use John around him, okay? He's going through something right now. Don't call him Garrett. I know. Call him John.
Defrosted Robot just mentioned that they like Sky's outfit, which is funny because I wrote Sky's pants are so tight. Like I'm like sometimes the women in the show, I'm like I feel bad for how tight these pants are. I might ask Anne Foley about this when we interview her. Like what are you doing to these women in these tight pants? I know that was very of the time for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm always like, God, they must be so uncomfortable.
Yeah. Can't breathe in them. It's probably not like material that your skin can easily breathe in. First off,
other kind of little things like Garrett like says that basically confirms because he thinks they're dead that Fitz-Simmons is dead, and Sky, you can see it like Sky's so upset, but she's ready to she's on a mission. Garrett wants word to get Sky, as we talked about earlier. Excuse me. And then we've got like a cool Deathlock POV at some point. There's just like a lot popping off.
Oh,
here
right. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of different elements, a lot of different like points of view. Again, they were just like, it was a good season wrap because they had everything, all the elements that you have seen thus far. They just like crammed it into one episode. It was great.
It was a
different
good funneling of characters and storylines.
Yeah.
So back to Fitz-Simmons. This is where I wrote a lot of cryings. So get ready to take sips. So we learned about there's only one breath in the thing, and that's when I really like start crying. And then he's like, we're not discussing it, and she goes, "You're my best friend." And then he says, "You're more than that. I couldn't find the courage to tell you until now." And now, like in my notes, I wrote tears. And then he says, "Please let me show you." So, and then she's kissing his face, and she's crying, like, and I'm crying. So before we get to the second half of this, just the confession scene, Tony, I have to check in first. I have to check in if you are surprised that Fitz shared his feelings this early in the show, and two, are you shipping them yet?
No and no. No, of course, this is the time. You're about to fucking die. Yeah, you say it. You say it. And then no, I'm sorry. Like, I don't think it's gross. Like, I know I say brother and sister a lot because that is it's skewed from that, right? Like at the beginning of the show, I was like, they're brother and sister, right? Or they're just the same person. So, but like, okay, it's starting to feel a little less like that. Now it just feels like maybe they're just best friends, but I'm not. I'm just like picturing them kissing, and it's not correct in my brain. That's where I'm at right now.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah, but you liked Fitz-Simmons, right?
Like as characters,
yeah.
They're wonderful.
Okay.
They're wonderful.
Got it.
Yeah,
it's just the
individually and together. Yeah.
Man, I'll say when he presses the button for like the window to explode, her scream is like, damn, that was a good scream that she had.
Well, that's what I want to talk about next, because her screaming no directly parallels when Fitz screams no and fizzed when she's jumping out of the plane. It's like a direct. Oh, I got chills. I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
I can't.
Drink.
I can't with Fitz-Simmons. I just can't.
Drink your tears. But Fitz is
God.
always like fucking. This is again. I would talk about this like this last episode. I was like, Fitz is always fucking ready to die. Like anytime he's in a situation where it's like he's facing down Garrett, or he's got to jump out of a plane, or he's got to hit the button, he's like, fuck it, let's go. Like he's just always like, and it's not like a suicidal thing. He's just like a fucking Boy Scout, man. He's just the real deal.
No. And that's going back to what Jamie was saying about when it's always fun to watch smart people talk about death, because Fitz, specifically in that pod situation, he's like, I've done every calculation that I know of, which is a lot. You know, I've done everything all. The only conclusion in my head is press the button. And that's why Fitz and Simmons are great, because she comes up with, like, she helps him tap into part of his mind that he hasn't. And he taps into a lot of his mind. And that's why I love those two universally throughout any season. Like, I just love that dynamic between them.
Me too.
Jamie's gonna cry.
I'm gonna cry again. Which is so they're about to get saved, but before we talk about who saves them, we're gonna take our 30-second break. refill your drinks, all that business, have a good cry, and we'll see you back in 30 seconds.
I was reading the comments during that 30-second break. The audience is great. Like, they take the spoilers thing very seriously. They're not messing
really
around.
Respectful of Tony. No.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
It's really, we really appreciate them.
100%.
Thank you for being here, Steve, and everyone else for loving the time of Hydra. We're talking beginning of the end, the season 1 finale, and where we left off was Fitz-Simmons gets saved in the ocean. Steve, you want to tell the crowd who saves him?
By Thor. No. Nick Fury. Nick Fury, baby. That was cool. I did like that.
When that happened, Tony went, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah.
I should have put it together because the way I love the really smart little plot detail of Fitz says, "I sent out a signal on this shield sonar, but nobody's listening to that. The shield is gone." And I'm like, "Oh, bummer, man. That's really sad." Of course, fucking Fury's got his ear to the sonar of whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Like, great.
Oh, he's listening to everything. Yeah.
Yeah. It was. I just like that they made a very clever choice that it wasn't just Fury swooping in. It was someone called him, and like in a way that only he could hear it, and that was really smart writing, and I liked it a lot.
We kind of
I remember the first time I watched it. The first time I watched it, when it was spoiled by the promo, it still was cool to see him. Like, it was so exciting because you didn't think that that's how he was going to come into the episode, but you're like, hell yeah, of course. And watching it again, it's like, it's still as like, fuck yeah, Fury. Like, I don't know. It's just a great, solid moment that I feel like test time. It's just universally a cool Fury intro.
And like this little show that like is such an experiment and such an early part of this whole franchise, like getting Samuel Jackson on their show is just, it's just such a big deal. It's so cool.
He's like the biggest movie star of all time.
I mean, he's kind of, he's one of them. He's just the best. He's got his sunglasses and all that. And so he rescues them. Gemma comes out of the like kind of pod thing, and we learned that Fitz he was without oxygen this whole time. We'll talk more about that later. But Fury says he's looking for Coulson, and he says that he's involved in a dispute I might want to weigh in on. I love that.
Line. I like it a lot.
And then then we go back to the Sky and May versus Ward. I like that Garrett is evil. You're just weak. I hope Garrett orders you to walk into traffic. Just like, oh. Also, I'm sorry. This is like a delicate question, trigger warning, but he threatens to rape her.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, he does. He says, maybe I'll just take what I want.
Yeah. Like,
why do I give a shit?
I missed that.
How is any? Yeah. He's really rotten.
Like, maybe someone could dispute that, like, but maybe like if you want to defend what he said, but like that's how I took it, and I was like, I forgot he said that, and I was like, whoa, Jesus Christ, dude.
He doesn't mean what he's saying. He's doing it to belittle her, infuriate her, make her feel small, make her feel, it's a disgusting thing to do.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna do it. Nope. Of course not. No. Like he still fucking says it, and it's like, whoa, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Was that the same fight where Ward was like, "Oh, I'm usually on top," and May's like, "You are never on top." Oh, okay, we're gonna get
because then because then Sky literally 6-man Ward, like, because you slept with her, and then May fucking dominates. Like, it's May, she beats the shit out of him, and there is that moment where she says you were never on top, and you know what? I believe it, because as we've learned this whole episode, Ward likes to be dominated. He's a classic bottom.
Yeah,
like I really believe that he was never once on top with May.
Yeah.
No, I believe that too, and it makes so much more sense why he was so attracted to May, because she's a very dominant human being. I love that line.
Picture Ward fucking now, and I can't do it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't want to think about it. Brett Dalton is so hot, but Ward is like sexless to me.
Yes.
I was gonna say, when Sky was right, like the whole moment of like, because you slept with her and then May comes in, to me was very we have a Hulk, you know, like from the MCU.
Yeah.
It's a very it's like, well, we have a May.
Yeah, we have a May.
100%. And she fucking puts a nail gun through his toe.
Yeah.
She nails his fucking feet to the floor. Yeah, it was so good. It was so good. Made me so happy to just the pain of that, and the like, I'm stuck. Like, it's so funny.
A little bit. Okay, then we've got Coulson versus Garrett. There's so much happening here. Fury shows up, and then, you know, he says to Coulson, well, I went through great pains to make sure you didn't die the first time. And Coulson's like, yeah, we're going to talk about that later. The gun from the Avenger?
I know.
Coulson's Revenge. It's called Coulson's Revenge.
Yep.
Amazing.
That, I think, when I originally watched that, yes, I was excited for Fury. But that gun, when that gun made an appearance, I was jumping for joy. I was geeking out for sure. It was just so cool. He's like, I know how to use it. Fury, trust me. I know how to fucking use it.
Yes.
I know what it does, because in Avengers he says, "Oh, that's what it does." And, beautiful. It's so cool to get to see him wield it and successfully. And another moment that we'll talk about in a bit. But I just love Pax with his bloody mouth, and he's just getting
psycho.
Crazier. And then Fury literally says, "You didn't tell me he's gone this crazy."
I love it. They're just joshing the whole time. Paxton's like, the future, I see beyond, and they're like, he's fucking weird, right? Yeah, he is. Like, he didn't, and then he didn't understand it's not one man, it's many, or whatever, like the catchphrase is.
And then he's like, you got it, right? Yeah, I got it.
I got it. Yeah, easy. It's terrific.
And then a lot is going on now at once. We find out that the reason why Sky is there is to get Ace, is to get Mike's son. That's the ace in the hole that was being referred to earlier. A little pun, if you will. And we find out the bomb in her backpack is just a Hulk toy, which goes back to the series premiere where Mike and Ace are looking in the window shop, and he's like, which one's your favorite? And poor Ace is like, I don't need any. He's like, I know we're poor, Dad. I don't want a Hulk toy. And so he got his Hulk toy, which he deserved, because he's been kidnapped this whole time.
They didn't give me any toys in that little dormitory.
I teared up again in my notes. I said we're a team, but that's when
I know
this was so stupid when he wrote we're a team in Deathlock's eyes. I like, even that got me. Like, at this point, I'm a sucker. If they're pulling at my heartstrings, I'm gonna have a tear. It's happening.
It gets easier.
And then
what a beautiful. It's a beautiful moment for Deathlock, because Deathlock in general, like especially in the books before this, didn't really have that kind of like ethos, like empathy or and it was really sweet to see that writing come up of like, what are we? We're a team. And that's when Deathlock kind of like turns for good, and you're like, oh, Deathlock. My heart went out.
I mean, Mike Peterson's arc, pretty fucking great. That was, when the show ended, and he has his last little interaction of like, they said I should bring you in. He's like, well, whatever. He's like, I'm gonna go make amends. I'm like, man, there were a lot of shades of that character, and he also he was in maybe not even half of the episodes. Just really dynamic work they did with him. I love it.
I wrote in that was going to bring this up. I wrote great little arc because, he was the start. He was the bookend of this show in a way that, like, usually, we've got the big bad, but he was this other kind of side thing. And Tony and I having just watched all of Angel and watching J. August Richards, not really what they did with him in the final season, like neither of us really love what they do with him. And so like watching him have this arc in such a short period of time, like I love Gunn, don't get me wrong, I love the character Gunn, but like getting to watch J. August Richards do this was really cool. But when he's like backtracking a little, when he's like, he blows Garrett away, which Tony laughed really hard at that.
Yeah, he gets toasted. He gets toasted. Like, because Garrett takes like 6 bullets and like bloody grins at him. But when he gets blasted by Deathlock, he's all fucked up. He's like in pain, like trying to like get up. And he's like, Deathlock, you can't do that. Like, it was so good.
I do have one issue, and it's that Deathlock fucking curb stomps him, and then they show his face, and it's fine. That face should have been a smoosh. Yeah. Like, I know it's network TV, but like he curb stomped his ass. That was some American History X shit right there.
It was. It really was. And you heard crunches. Like you heard some crunches. And then when you see his face, you're like, oh, he's fine. So you're like, did he? I thought it was the face too. I guess you don't. That's what I had assumed as well. I think a lot of people had, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was his chest. But no, it was definitely not as satisfying when you saw him.
Yeah, I wish they didn't cut to it.
If you got to take that sacrifice to the
right, it was worth it. It was worth it.
Before we get to that final PAX moment, they arrest Ward, and then they ask the question, "Who are you without him?" And I guess we'll see. Tony, do you think? I know you don't like to predict things, but do you have any idea of who Ward will be without John Garrett?
I think he's going to be lost and remorseful, and that's, I don't know. I think he's going to be, that's the only thing I know. I wouldn't mind if he stopped being in this show in the same way Garrett's not coming back.
Fair.
You know what I mean?
Well,
I agree.
Because
I'm interested in what they're going to do. I'm interested in what they're going to do. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Also, okay, so he's alive. Bill Paxton's alive. He's like getting death-locked. He's a mess. He's such a villain. The music in this moment's awesome. Shout out to Bear. I've been trying to be better about music, and this was a moment where I was like, music, fuck yeah! And then he's like, now I will be unstoppable. Gets fucking
so good.
Blown up. Like, he explodes, and it's so funny.
Because I remember the first time I watched, when I saw this, it was so fun to see Deathlock like take the finished blow, and then you saw him, and then you're like, well, they showed him, so he might be dead. And then when he was getting back up, you're like, God damn, more with this guy. Damn. And then he gets the suit, and you're like, oh, come on, we don't like, can we get something else? And then just like blam, you're like, Marvel, damn it, you got me again. You got me, Marvel. It was good.
The exact ride that I went on.
They knew exactly what was funny, like just the timing of it all. Like exactly to Jamie's point of it was like, I'm gonna be unstopped, and then it was just like vaporized, and you're like, that is so fucking funny. I laughed so hard every time I see that.
I also need to apologize because the chat's bringing it up. For some reason, I sometimes just have to call Bill Paxton or Pax. I don't always call. He's got like 5 names. John Garrett, Garrett. Everyone else like called by their character name. I think it's because 10 years later, I still can't believe they got Bill Paxton on the show. So like, I just like
you say it when you can,
Exactly. Steve, I hope you're okay going a little late today.
Oh yeah,
It's a little late. Yeah, we started late. I want to shout out Alice, who it's almost 4 a.m. I think over her time. So she's got an exam. I hope you get an A++.
Hell yeah, Alice.
We got more to talk about. So love the scene of Coulson yelling at Fury, stupid, and cruel.
It's stupid.
But what's beautiful is like, he's talking about, he's like, it's supposed to be a fall of an Avenger, and then Fury says exactly, and that's another cry for Jamie when Nick Fury calls Coulson an Avenger, and that's a big thing within the fandom now. Tony, you can know is that this fandom loves to call Coulson an Avenger because of that.
Yeah,
like Nick Fury called him an Avenger. Coulson's an Avenger, and it's like,
and no Avenger would disagree with Fury. Like they in Avengers 1, they had a brief scene where they were all like Coulson was the reason why they're like, we got to fucking do this, and led into like the final New York battle. So I don't think anyone, like not Tony, not Thor, they would all be like, yeah, Coulson's an Avenger. Hell yeah. I love that. That was a very sweet moment. And it was just like cute's not the word, and cute's not what they were going for, but it was such a cute scene to watch these two bickering, it's precious. Yeah.
Snowbat in the comments just pointed out a great point. Bill Paxton has been killed by a Predator, a Terminator, and an Avenger.
Fuck, yes! Yes! Oh, trivia of the month.
Yes.
That is awesome. That's great.
Oh,
that is so funny.
That. We have to do an Instagram post of that.
It's like a EGOT almost.
It is an EGOT. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Oh God. All right. So all of that. And then Fury's like, all right, I'm out. Here you go. Director. Coulson's now the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Tony, did you see that coming?
No, I love it. I love it. And when they're getting off the plane into the new digs, like, I just watched them all come down the ramp, and I'm just so proud of everybody. So proud of everybody that's there, except, and not Ward, of course. Like, I'm just that whole team. I'm like, this is absolutely the founding members of New S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
That was a cool, like comic book cover pose that they took, like outside the hangar, and just like there was like the theme music coming in, and they were in their formation. That was pretty dope. I mean, obviously Fitz wasn't in it because he's
that's what I'm
that's true. Yeah.
Is like the doors open and Gemma's alone, and guess what? Cried again. Gemma's by herself. There's no Fitz. And then the way is Fitz okay? He's alive. Like, what? And then earlier, like, they mentioned that he might never be the same again. I cried then too. Like, I just like, Fitz okay? I don't know. We don't know. The fact that they don't put him in this in the end is really a gut punch and a real TV thing to do.
Yeah, they could have very easily him like coming out on a wheelchair, be like, but they but they did not do that. No. And I'm concerned. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much, if at all, they're going to follow through with his lack of oxygen to his brain for an extended period of time in the coming season. But I'm concerned because I like that guy and I want him around.
Yeah.
Jamie, did you cry when Patton Oswalt came back? Do you have that as crying in your notes?
I did not. Even though now, since he has passed in real life, seeing him revived is always nice. But I will say that was one time I did not well up with tears. But then we get Billy Koenig, when Patton Oswalt walked up, Tony goes, "What?"
Yeah.
I still don't understand what the fuck is going on there. I guess they just got a room. They got a room full of Koenigs.
And I think it's funny for Patton Oswalt to get to do that, because knowing he's such a comic book aficionado, it's so funny to just retcon and just be like, no, that one died, but now I'm here and I'm a different character, but I am not. I'm just the same thing over and over again. I love that.
It is. Yeah. It does. It also gets me a little when he's like, Eric passed away. Like, oh, but because if you remember, Tony, there's when Eric, an early scene with Patton Oswalt, Eric was like, oh, I just play video games with my brother all day, and so they did.
So it's his brother. We're gonna go with brother. Because I was like, I thought they just had a bunch of Koenig clones.
You know what, Tony?
We don't know. No spoilers, Tony.
People have been asking these questions but we did hear him mention a brother. Is he a clone? I don't know. Will we ever get an answer to that question? I don't know, Tony. I just don't know.
It's like the last scene of AI, except instead of a bunch of Haley Joel Osments, it's just a bunch of Patton Oswalds.
Well, I'm glad he's back because he's really cute. It's fun to see him geeking out, asking for the lanyards. He's doing the same speech. Great stuff. And then we get a little horror scene where Raina goes and like comes up to this fucking dude with a bloody fucking hand, and she's like, "I found your daughter." Tony went, "Yeesh."
Yeah. I was gonna ask what Tony's reaction was.
Yeah, he literally went, "Yeesh."
Very disturbed. I'd say. I that area felt like the atomic bomb testing site where the kind of clairvoyant crew was hanging out before, right? And so I kind of maybe thought it was that one dude who got zapped over the phone, who'd like come back to life or something. But I was like, okay,
no, he's gone. He's dead.
Yeah, all right. So that's Sky's dad there. I don't know why he's so bloody. It's upsetting that he should wash his hands or stop bleeding. I really don't know. I don't know if he is just a blood person or if he recently murdered somebody with his hands.
I like that. I like that you said first blood person before he just killed a man. Either he's a blood man. Yeah, no, it is Marvel. You're right. Either he controls blood, or maybe he just killed a man. But it might be Blood Man.
I'm going with Blood Man. We'll take a poll. How's that?
I think the three of us just started our own comic series.
Blood Man.
Well, let's get that going.
Yes. Oh boy.
By day, he's a regular husband. By night, AB positive.
Yeah, I mean,
Jesus.
That was.
I like that James like, we're going long, but I gotta get this fucking joke in.
Yeah. She had that joke. She had that joke down. She's like, I cannot wait.
Nope. Steve said he can hang. Who cares how long we go?
Yeah.
Damn right.
Maria's not here to keep us in check.
Yeah, that bossy Maria who's always telling us to stop doing the show.
Yeah. All right. So then we got the end tag. So earlier we saw Garrett writing those symbols, and we saw those symbols earlier in the season when they were infiltrating the thing, and when Ward was like flirting with the guy, and they saw it on the chalkboard. We have seen that writing before.
Okay.
And
that was
early season. Yes, that was early in the season. We saw that writing, and we're like, what's that about? And then Garrett started doing it, and now Coulson's doing it, and so that's ominous, I guess.
Yes, it is.
Let me tell you, no idea. I don't know what.
I know you don't know, and I know Steve doesn't know, and I don't think anyone in the comments knows either. So I guess we'll all just have to rally around together when this goes back to television.
But wait, I know you had mentioned you don't like to predict things, but what do you think that is, or do you just have no clue?
It's something to do with the compound of was it GB8OH04 or whatever, the blue stuff serum. I think it is like, they were talking about when they were testing it that it was people were going mad and people were this and that, and so I think that this when they have this in their system, it gives them this vision. And it looks to me like a sort of chemical compound. I don't know science things. I'm not a Fitz-Simmons, but like it's some sort of chemical compound equation form. It's maybe a formula or something like that. And it almost seems like it's there's an infinity to it, like it doesn't end. So I think I think Coulson's going to start to feel the effects of the actual psychological changes from going through that procedure.
And don't forget, Sky took that blood too.
I know, and Sky's got it too, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I hope you find out someday, Tony.
I do too, man. We'll be talking in a few months, I think.
I tweet spoilers on our Twitter account because Tony's nowhere near Twitter, and you can't control spoilers on Twitter anyway, so I don't try. I only control spoilers on Instagram. But I did tweet, like there are just certain episodes in season 2 that I'm so excited to get to, and I was like, is it December yet? Not to say you'll get your answer in December for that specific question, but like there are episodes in December that I'm so excited about, and I'm like, oh, we're so far away, but also so close. Time's crazy.
There's characters I'm excited for in season 2.
Yeah. Before we get into the history, I know. Do either of you have anything to say about this episode that we didn't touch on?
Just one thing. I think this is Fury's flyest look. I love the I love the cap. I love the glasses. I love the and he says, "I know I look like a bum." I'm like, "Man, you look good. You look
you look fucking awesome." Yeah.
And this is kind of what he's wearing when he walks out of the cemetery in Winter Soldier. But like we get a lot. We get to look at it a lot. I'm like, it's a good look, man.
Yeah. Yeah, he has because he has a similar look for like Secret Invasion, but he had like greens and he I agree with you. It was way more like leathery and whatever. I love that.
I think I've said this on the show before, but it always bothers me that when we see him back in Ultron, he has the eye patch again. Like after his whole ceremonious getting rid of the eye patch, the next time we see him in the movies. So I'm like, it's good to see this little bridge where he does have the glasses.
Yeah. No, I'm glad. I mean, the first episode you had me on for the which one was it? The Asgardian lady. I forget the name of that episode.
Yes, man.
Yeah, Yes, Man. That was a really fun episode, like we had discussed, and we had so much fun. This was like a legit good piece of TV, a good round. Like not a lot of shows. Sometimes shows have shitty last episodes of a season.
Yes.
And this one delivered. I think it was a good dismount for like the whole season. And and they planted some fun things.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say very boldly that I think every single season finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is great. I know that some people don't like season 5 finale, and I fucking love the season 5 finale. So, like, for me, there's no misses when it comes to the finales. But let's get into a little bit of history. So, Steve, something that that you might not know is that for some of the final episodes, they released a new poster for every episode.
Oh, give it to me.
So this is the beginning of the end poster right here.
Cool.
So this one's very postery, right?
It's classic.
Like some of them have been very artsy, really cool artwork. Some of them have been more postery. This one is kind of more like Providence in that it's postery. I really like the clashing logos a lot.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I'll take it away so that we can see Steve's face again. But so this one was created by Phantom City Creative and their director Justine Erickson. So she said it made sense to bookend the series with a poster that on one hand called back to where they began, but more importantly showed how far they've come as a team. So like it's like that iconic stance, but like from the original poster, but like Ward's kind of further back is kind of the big thing.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's clean and classy. Like, you know how everybody makes fun of like superhero movies because it's like heads everywhere and bodies everywhere, whatever. And this was like they are prominent, right? But they're kind of back in the distance. And I don't know, it's just like it's very minimalist. Humble, minimalist, and I like that. I like it. It's classy.
Yeah.
The filming occurred March 23rd to April 9th. And then that's it because I already talked about Jed and Mo talking about it earlier. So before Tony leaves the room, this might be a 90-minute episode. I'm so sorry. Like there are no rules.
Hey, you know what? It's a finale. Like finales run long.
Yeah,
sometimes.
hell yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know it's late though. Alice has her exam, but like, what can you do? So Tony, now that we're here, the season has ended. I just have to hear kind of your overall thoughts in the season, but like you've heard from a lot of people that season 1 was like not that good. Jed Whedon himself was like, it gets better when you met him. So that's my first question. Did this exceed expectations this season?
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. So like, you know, Steve, I don't know if we've talked about this, but I started watching this show. I watched half of the first episode of this show when it aired. I did not like it. At that point in my life unacquainted with network television and it's its own art form, and I've since thanks to Jamie Jirak been initiated pretty thoroughly into how that works and how that's supposed to go and how that's supposed to feel. And then sometime later I was like, fuck, they got Ghost Rider up in here, so I tried it again. Like I got like I couldn't do it. So now that I've had this really good excuse / reason / effortful thing that Jamie and I do together, it's been really cool. I've enjoyed making this show a project because I do look forward to every episode. I wouldn't say I'm like dying to see the next episode, everyone, but I'm like, yeah, I know where we left off and I'd like to know where we're going. So I've enjoyed this ride very much. And if this is a bad season, I think I'm going to really have a good time.
Yeah. Why I appreciate that is because I think you and I have similar brains in the same way of like, I've described this to Jamie before, maybe I did last episode, but like I was very on and off with S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, I think I have a similar story like you do, Tony, of just like, I would watch half of it. Like, I didn't like season 1 at all at the beginning. Like when it first was released and a few episodes, I was getting really, so I fell off. And then Winter Soldier kind of brought me back into this, and then I would turn off, and then I would. But I do like this project that you guys are doing because it is making me appreciate it in a different way. So, yes, to answer your question, it does get better, you're in for a while. Maybe eventually you will be chomping at the bit to see the next one. Like that's the next level.
Only hope.
Yeah.
Only hope.
I really like season 1. I always have, but I think I really like one day, like 15, 20 years down the line, I feel like we need a Leto returns, because a thing about where Tony watches it all again, because a thing about like way down the line, because like I wouldn't have cried 12 times during this episode the first time I watched it, but because I know things that are gonna happen, I get so emotional. Like I just can't, like I see Fitz-Simmons in the bottom of the ocean and I like lose, my brain seeps out of my eyeballs because I can't handle it, because I just, because of future things. Who knows what that means? Tony sure doesn't. But like I think that's why everything deserves to be watched twice, because it's just such a different experience. And so that's my pitch for our next podcast.
And just do it all again.
Yeah, we'll do it again. Right after this one wraps up, you're just doing it again.
Maybe a little breathing room.
Yeah, maybe a little breather. It's such a good point, because like Fitz-Simmons, like I say, they have so many good scenes to come, but they're layered. And when you go back to this one with them at the bottom of the ocean, you do appreciate it the second or third time you watch it, because what they experienced in the pod is like just one of the layers of things that they will like delve into in their relationship. And so, yeah, that's a good point, Jamie. You do appreciate it when you rewatch it in a different way.
Totally.
I like that.
Tony, I have to know now, as we end season 1, as we started, is Coulson still your favorite character? And if so, who would you say is second? Because you've known Coulson longer.
Coulson is my favorite character. Yes, still my favorite character. Oh, second favorite character. I mean, presumably we're talking about the main, like the core 6, right?
The core 6, like, but you can drop somebody else. But like, I mean, I'm talking the main 6.
I say Ward. I would laugh so hard if you said Ward.
That would have been a good joke. That would have been a good joke. Yeah.
Who did you say?
Scott.
Oh, wow. Jackie and Sari are going to be thrilled. Margie, if you're listening, I know you're really disappointed because you really liked when Tony did not like Skye at the beginning of the season. You've really come around. I'm impressed.
Bit by bit, that girl just became one hell of a lady to me. And I think she does good work, and she's bold, and she's smart, and she didn't take any shit. And I don't know if we talked about this, Steve, but she annoyed the piss out of me in like the first 3 episodes. I was like, I can't with this Skye girl. But now, man, like I'm like, again, like really fucking concerned. What is the history of this person? She's an 084. Her father's a blood man. Like, what's gonna
the blood man,
the blood
the
man.
the new superhero we invented.
Yeah. So
a Glenn Jirak and Hund production.
Yes. Yeah.
Steve, at this point, just in season 1, at the end of season 1, who would you say your favorite character is at this point?
I mean, it's so hard not to say Fitz-Simmons together.
You can. There's no rules.
Yeah.
We're
so
15 minutes over time.
That's what I'm gonna say is Fitz-Simmons. They're not always going to be number 1 depending on the season, but I think second would be Coulson. Third would be May. Fourth would be Sky, but I do love Sky. It's just like May's such a fucking badass. Coulson is just charming and like a great leader, and Fitz-Simmons, I love, again, the love between them, the science, the philosophy, that's my ranking. What's your ranking, Jamie?
I don't know if I have a ranking, but I know that. At
no, everybody else did it. Who's your first top 2?
Fitz is my number 1. And Fitz will remain my number 1. But certainly not my number 1 of the series, but of my number 1 of season 1. And then I don't know. It's so hard because I do love them all, but I would say probably May would be number 2 at this point. But I love Jet. Like, it's hard. Like, the only one, Ward is 6th. That's for sure. Like,
I'm confident in that. For mine,
I will say, Sky. At this point, I was more impressed. Like, oh, Chloe's really crushing it. But Sky wasn't necessarily my favorite. I'm really honestly shocked that she's your number 2, Tony, but I'm really happy, and I know that that's going to make people really happy. So,
I just said it to make people happy. You know?
Rank. Oh yeah, that's you, Tony. Just pleasing our audience. Classic. Tony, I've been meaning to do this for like weeks, and I keep forgetting. And it's I want to give you a spoiler, because I wish I had known this earlier. And the audience, like, I meant to do this on the episode when we watched The Only Light in the Darkness, the Amy Acker episode, the cellist episode. It's important that you know that she's never going to come back.
I thought as much. I kind of felt that.
The reason why I'm telling you this is because I held out hope for so long that I had trouble investing in some of other Coulson's potentials.
He literally told her half-conscious self, like, I'm always gonna be here. I'm gonna be watching you. I'll find you again. I'll see you. I love you.
Exactly.
We're married.
Because of that, I kept, I have a giant tattoo of Amy Acker. I kept waiting for her to come back. So I just thought, I keep forgetting every episode. I'm like, I gotta tell Tony, you need to know that so that you can let her go, let the cellist go, and be prepared for the future.
That is a very responsible spoiler. Like, that is a very
I know what my journey was, and I want to help you not have the same journey that I did.
Thank you. You've always been very intuitive about what to say, what not to say, when I should look at the title credits and all that business. You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. People ask me all the time, how do you do it? How do you live with him and not tell him things? I'm like, it's really not that hard. It's kind of fun, to be honest.
We actually do have other stuff going on, guys.
All the time. We do.
You're just silent in between episodes, so you don't say shit to each other.
This is the only thing holding this relationship together.
Oh, God, no. Yeah.
That's why Jamie wants to do another one to rewatch it, so you guys stay together.
So
like,
that's
what break up. Oh God. Okay, Tony, before you say your goodbyes, is there anything else you want to say about this episode, this season?
I just want to say thanks to everybody who's joined and who's been listening to us and watching. It's this is Jamie's brainchild. We worked really hard, especially her. I can't do a lot of the work things because I can't learn about the show. So it all comes to Jamie. But I just really appreciate everybody's participation, whether it's through the comments or you're listening on your own time. It's very much appreciated. So I'll say some thank yous to Stephanie at Eclectic Muses on socials for doing our artwork. Thank you to Ryan Miera of Yellow Pills on Instagram for doing our music. Thank you to our producer, Maria, who's not here today, but she's awesome. And thanks, Steve, for being back on the show. And it's always
Thank you, Tony.
So much fun talking with you. Yeah, man.
It's so much fun. So much fun. Yeah.
Stephanie, if you're listening, I hope you're ready to design that season 2 art because I'm ready for a change. I kind of love our music, though. I don't know if I'm ready to ask Ryan for new music because I really like our music.
It's okay. Yeah, I like
you don't have to change it.
I love our art too, but posting on social media, I use it every day.
Right.
For the record, I love it. I just don't. I see the art way more than I hear the music. Just a reminder to everybody to follow us at LidoPod on Instagram and Twitter. This is especially important now that we are in our summer hiatus because we are going to be having random spotlight episodes dropping. And you don't want to miss out on those dates. Our May 20th for Anne is our only official date so far, but we already have stuff lined up. So you're going to want to follow us. Send your friends to follow us. You now have a whole summer to convince your friends to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and listen to this show. So,
and your moms. And
your moms.
Steve is proof that moms love us. And I mean, I bet you Steve's mom would come on the show because my mom would come on the show.
Oh my God. I would love to have Patty on the show. Like me and Patty.
That's a season 2 goal. Steve and Patty. I love it. And then, of course, keep an eye out for the Firefly Patreon. Thank you guys so much. Tony, thank you for being here and for watching this show that I love. We're going to now talk spoilers, so leave the room.
My last leaving of the room. My last leaving of the room for season 1. I'm leaving the room.
Season 1, leaving of the room. Wait, I have a question. What is Alice's exam that she has to take tomorrow?
She'll have to tell us. I don't know.
Okay.
She's in school.
Alice, I want to know what exam. If you can. Yeah.
If you don't mind sharing.
If it's not,
Steve is very invested in your education. So the one thing that I wish that Tony was already around on Fitz-Simmons, but I know it'll happen eventually. And I think that he's not dumb. I think that he probably knows that it's gonna be a thing because the way we talk about them. I try to be secretive, but come on. And you're allowed to ask these questions because when a character is confessing their love, I'm allowed to say, do you ship it? Because some, but he says he doesn't want to see them kiss. And it's funny because when they do kiss for the first time in season 3, it is one of my favorite first kisses because I love friends to lovers trope. It's
it's a great trope.
I also love enemies to lovers, but friends to lovers, my first love was my best friend in high school. And then after a year, it was oh, we love each other. And so I have a soft spot for that kind of romance. But I love that their first kiss is a fight. And I love a fight that gets turned into a kiss so much.
It makes it more real. You know what I mean? All this emotion is coming up and you're fighting so much and you're just fuck it, let's kiss. The passion redirects. I mean, that is a sign of just a healthy relationship, when you can still be mad at each other, but you're I'm mad at you, but I still want to give you all of the smooches, which she I loved her smooching. I forgot about her smooches on his face this time. So it was so cute to see her. Yeah.
Because it wasn't the right moment to kiss him on the mouth because she doesn't feel that way about him, but she has to think. She's never thought about it. It's not that she doesn't, it's that she has to think about it. And that's why I love that moment so much. And it really does make me cry so much because it's just, it really is beautiful.
I think Tony, it's so crazy. Tony is the first person I've ever heard who said, I cannot picture them kissing.
This is a thing. There are definitely people who have felt this way. I've seen it.
Oh, really?
But I do think yes. But I do think it's impossible to not come around to them eventually. Especially after he saves her and everything. Also, I just want to tell the chat's concerned because Tony's his screen was up for a while. I just forgot to remove it. Don't worry, guys. His earphones are out. Maria's not here. I don't know how to press all the buttons. It's okay. Tony is not listening.
And Alice said her exam is in biogeochemistry. Holy shit.
That's a whole Simmons right there. That's a Simmons.
Yeah, that's a big old Simmons right there.
Wow. Yikes.
But what you were saying earlier on the show about rewatching it, when they were in the bottom of the ocean, it took me a second to be like, when he was like giving up, it's just like, come on, Fitz, you've been figuring this out for so long. And then you're like, Steve, this is season 1. Like, remember it's season 1. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it is fun to just like see them at like level 2 now, maybe level 3, you know? And then to go through everything they go through in the future. It's cute. I love them so much.
Yeah, it just really is a great long burn. Slow burn is the word I'm thinking of.
Yeah, slow burn.
I love them.
It's not annoying to me like Jim and Pam. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's more earned and more. I like the slow burn more. It's not like constantly being teased. You know, like they can function together.
Is that, excuse me, once they get them together, they have really good ways of tearing them apart. That's like so fascinating. Like space and time at the same time is like hell yeah. But okay, so Steve, I don't know if you know this, but Tony and I have been rewatching Twin Peaks. We love Twin Peaks, but we're rewatching it right now. And
nice.
In like,
so he's gonna be stoked.
He is so like he loves Kyle MacLachlan anyway, but he just watching Twin Peaks, like not an episode goes by where he's not complimenting him for some acting choice that he's making. So when he meets Cal, he's gonna lose his fucking mind. And like I so wish that he had been in the end tag, but they hadn't cast him yet, which is understandable because when they filmed it, they didn't know if they were gonna be picked up and all that. But yeah, but like I like we're so close but so far away from that reveal, and I'm so excited about it.
And another role where the actor, who is like a phenomenal actor, kind of like Bill Paxton, right? Like a well-respected actor who has done other things, when they get to eat up those silly, like villain type crazy assholes, you know, and he will have so much fun watching him as Mr. Hyde. It's great. I really enjoy Mr. Hyde. Do you like that character?
I love him. I love that he's not like a bad guy. Like he's like he is, but he isn't. And I like that in the end he gets like kind of a redemption because between the two parents you expect her to be the good one, but it's like a role reversal. And I love that whole twist. If you haven't seen Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes yet, Deacon Lockman does show up at the end of the movie, and I don't think that's a spoiler like for the movie.
I'm seeing it tomorrow, baby. Okay. I'm seeing it tomorrow.
It's known that she's in the movie. It's not a secret that she's in this movie. But when the movie ended, I said to Tony, I'm like, that lady in the movie, remember her. It's like
remember her.
Keep that face in mind.
When you do that, does he know you're talking about this podcast?
Yeah. I think so. I'm pretty sure.
Remember her.
I also have to tell everybody that I fucked up big time this week.
Oh no.
So because I knew Anne Foley was going to be on the pod, I asked people to share their favorite costumes from season 1. And somebody wrote a thing and then in the post said, "This is my favorite Daisy costume from the whole show." And I didn't clock that. And I put it in our stories. And thankfully this person caught it themselves. And they were like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I just realized."
Protect Tony.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, fuck, I didn't notice either. This is your fault. This is my fault. I'm the social media person. This is on me. It's not on you." And so I deleted it. And I know that Tony saw it because you can see who sees your stories. But I also know that he did not clock it at all. Like he absolutely did not clock that. So if any of you else saw that and were like, oh, don't worry, I'm sure he barely read them, let alone do not worry, because he would have told me. I think but also him and I have watched the first episode of Marvel Rising together like a long time ago, and I know that somewhere in his brain he knows that like Quake's in the show. He just forgot.
Also, like, yes, absolutely protect Tony, 100% behind that. You do such a great job. Your audience does such a great job. But part of this experience for like you and I and other viewers who have watched it, we have gotten spoilers. Like, it's going to happen is what I'm saying. Happens. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when I sent the email to Anne Foley's like publicist, I was like, here are the rules, basically. But I was like, but also don't stress about it. It
Yeah,
happens. It's
okay.
funny. Like, some people are like really nervous about it, and like we've all been there. At this point, the only thing I was really worried about was Ward. It didn't get spoiled. There's nothing
that was a good
else
one.
in the whole series that like is as important as that reveal in terms of spoiler. There's a lot of stuff I hope he doesn't find out, but nothing will stress me up to that point.
I'm just excited for him to meet Bobby and Hunter because I love them as well.
Hunter's
so much.
in the next episode.
I know.
I already know that Jackie and Sari, who they came on the show together. They're my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fandom friends. They were like, they want to do Bobby's entrance episode for season 2. And I was like, if I can't get Adrian, I'm going to try. If I can't get Adrian, it's you too. Obviously I'm going to shoot the email. But that doesn't mean anything. Like sometimes we get lucky and sometimes we don't. But I do know we have some cool stuff starting with Anne. But Steve, any more thoughts? Any plugs you want to do? Your socials? Anything, say it.
Anything else about this show? I remember I was going to ask something instead of saying something. Are you going to have Tony, when this whole show's done, watch each spoiler, like each one of these sections?
I think he will do it on his own because Tony listens to every episode because he drives for work. So he listens to every episode and then shuts it off. I don't listen to the episodes. I don't have time for that. I can't. I don't I don't.
You're doing enough.
I love you all. I don't want to listen to this episode or these episodes. But Tony always does. But we need that. We need somebody to be like, oh, by the way, the sound was off, or maybe we should rethink this. So I'm glad he does that. But I think maybe in the end he will go back and listen to all the spoilers.
That'll be cool. So I am Chicago based. I love all things comic books, nerddom, pop culture. So hit me up if you're in Chicago or want to be friends. I'm actually selling books at a Chicago con called BellaCon 2 in June 1st. It's like it's not your C2E2, it's not your New York Comic Con, but it's like a nice little local Chicago Comic Con. Come check us out. We're called Mind in the Gutters Comics. Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Go get some comics from Steve the Hund.
Yeah, come on. Come check out my collection.
In Chicago.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you, Steve, not only for being on the show, pretty last minute, and also for 90 minutes.
Hell yeah. I love you guys. I love this show. I love the subject material. So this is what I would be doing just with Nat in the other room. So it's nice to It's
awesome.
great.
And
thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for staying up late with us. Don't forget to check out our Spotlight episode with Ann Foley on May 20th and our first Firefly Patreon on June 9th. You've all been an incredible audience. I want to shout out to all of our guests from the whole season. We had such amazing lineup of people, especially Clark Gregg. Thank you, Clark, for coming on and doing this with us. We are going to do this 6 more times. So we'll see you in September, but also before September. Good night.
Good luck. Good luck, Alice. Good luck on your exam.
Good luck, Alice.
Night, everybody.
Good night.